Hey guys, it's Shannon. It's been pretty much forever since you guys have heard from me. Last time you heard from me, I had wires coming out of me and tubes going in me, and I looked like death warmed over, which is pretty much how I felt. It was gnarly, dude. It was gnarly. So I kind of just want to give you an update of where things are going, where things are. And yeah, so when you guys saw me, it was the night of August 5th, the morning of August 6th. I went into the hospital. Well, let me back up a little bit. That Monday, the 4th, I woke up with a sinus headache, and it was like, you know that feeling on the roof of your mouth when you feel like you have to sneeze? I felt that like all day, and I took some sinus medication, and by the end of the night, I was awesome. I was fine. I went to bed, and when I woke up the next day, I don't remember coughing in my sleep. But I guess I must have, because when I woke up the next day, I was very short of breath. I was coughing a lot. My nose was completely clogged. My ears were completely clogged. I don't know what happened. So I was like, okay, I'll take some medication, call off of work, and I'll sleep it off. You guys see that? My glasses are broken. Anyways, I woke up a couple of times. My mom brought me some food and some candy, whatever. So I woke up a little bit then. But around 6 o'clock, I woke up incredibly nauseous. And I don't know if it's from the medication or what it was, but I woke up really nauseous. And I started dry heaving. And I hadn't eaten anything since 11 o'clock the night before. So I was dry heaving nothing. It was terrible. It was embarrassing. Luckily, nobody was home because I was like, this is going to sound terribly gross. And this is totally TMI, so skip ahead if you're not into TMI. But during this whole process, and this is the way they explained it to me, the little tube that, or whatever it is, that connects to your bladder that's closed, got stretched or whatever. This is really gross, guys. I'm sorry. So every time I would cough really hard, I was peeing everywhere. It was nasty. So I'm dry heaving, and it was horrible. It was just absolutely horrible. And I was so short of breath that I couldn't do anything about it. So I like laid a towel down and was just like, whatever. So around 10 o'clock, I got to a point where all I was doing was dry heaving, and I couldn't breathe. There was a point in time, literally, I thought I was going to die. I literally thought that I was not going to get enough oxygen and I was going to die. It was the most frightening experience of my life. So I texted my mom at about 10:30, and I said, I'd been texting her before, and she's like, if you want to go to the hospital, let me know, I'll take you. And I'm like, no, I'll wait till tomorrow, because emergency room's $50, urgent care's $10. So I was like, I'll just wait until tomorrow, and I'll go to the urgent care. So around 10:30, I was like, I can't do this. So I texted her and I said, you got to come get me. I can't do this. So she pulls up around 10:45, and she goes, I'm here. Well, I'm sitting in the living room, which is on that end of my house. My bedroom is on this end of the house. So I'm like, okay, I got to go put on some clothes, because I'm just wearing a tank top and underwear. So I walk halfway. I walk to about here, the computer room, and I have to stop and catch my breath. And then I walk into the bedroom. I have to stop and catch my breath. I put on some shorts. I left my tank top. I didn't have a bra on, nothing. I didn't even care. Put on some shorts. Walked halfway to the computer room, catch my breath. Walked to the living room, grab my purse, go outside, catch my breath. Walk down the stairs, catch my breath. I mean, it was terrible. So she texted me at probably 10:45. I didn't get into the car until like 11:10. That's how long it took me to walk from one end of my house to the other, get dressed, walk back to the other end of the house, and then go out to the car. It was terrible. So they take me in, and we get out of the car. The fresh air felt great, and I stopped. I wasn't quite as nauseous. And I probably should have stepped outside, but it was really humid that day. But anyways, so we get to the hospital. I go right up here to one of the closer ones, where my grandma, who that day had just had her hip replaced, which we'll talk about that later. That's a separate video. That's a whole nother basket entirely. Anyways, so I get out of the car, and the lady comes out with a big old wheelchair, and she wheels me in or whatever. There's nobody waiting, so I went straight back to the room. They, do all the name, address, blah, 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 insurance, blah, 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 all that other crap. They do my pulse ox. Well, they do my blood pressure. My blood pressure is pretty high. I don't know. I didn't see what it was the first time that they do it. My pulse ox, though, which if you guys don't know what pulse ox is, it's more or less how much blood's in your oxygen stream. you're supposed to be at like, 98 to 100. You're supposed, 100%, right? So realistically, they want you over 93. I was at like an 85, which obviously means I'm not getting enough oxygen to my blood. So they're like, okay. So they put me back into the emergency room. They come in. I'm so dehydrated from dry heaving and not drinking anything all day and taking medication and not eating in 24 hours at this point that they hook me up, or they're trying to get to a vein and they can't get to one. So they hook me up in this hand, which still hurts. It's been 3 weeks. Still hurts where they had it in, but whatever. So, and I'm sorry, this is going to be a long video. Sorry, ahead of time. Woo. So they hook me all up, in my hand, start a drip, put some anti-nauseous stuff in, whatever, monitoring my pulse ox, which is staying at, 85, 87, and immediately hook me up to oxygen, which they only have me at a 2. So, they come draw some blood, blah, 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 blah. They take me for an x-ray. The x-ray results came back that it was bronchitis. It was pretty bad bronchitis. No pneumonia. Okay, good. So around 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, my mom leaves. I tell her to go home. She's got to go see my grandma tomorrow. It's whatever. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, they have me walk around just this little tiny lap around the area. And we get back and I was like, so how'd I do? And she goes, you're barely at an 88. So we're going to admit you. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm like, hey, well, my mom comes up to visit my grandma tomorrow. She can come see me too. So then they come in, the other lady from like billing or whatever comes in and says, well, your insurance, you can go anywhere, but your primary, who you have selected as your primary, is for this specific hospital or this specific kind of hospital, not the one you're in. Because I was in St. John's and my primary is a DMC, which is Detroit Medical Center. So we have to send you there instead. So you can't be admitted here. So I'm like, so they're like, well, where's the closest one to your house? So the closest one's pretty much the same distance, just in opposite direction. So 6:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, they come in with a stretcher, or the ambulance guys come in or whatever. And of course, the first thing I hear is, why didn't somebody tell us we needed a bariatric stretcher? I'm like, oh, like I'm not just sitting right here. Why don't you just say, I need a fat stretcher? Anyways, whatever. They put me in the back of the ambulance, which is part of my bucket list. So, yay, I've ridden in an ambulance now. And keep in mind, this is the first time I've ever been to a hospital, like admitted into a hospital. So I get over to the other hospital. They leave me in their ER until 7, and then they admit me upstairs to the room I'm going to be in or whatever. It's a dual room, so I have a roommate. I went through 3 roommates in the 2 days I was there. So, anyways, so the whole time I was there, it was breathing treatments every 4 hours. In between that, every 2 hours was checking my vitals, checking my breathing. If you've been in the hospital, you know what I'm talking about. Pain in the butt. So they told me originally I was just going to be in there for 1 day. And then the next day they're like, no, you're not going home yet. We're giving you another day. Whatever. The heparin shots were a pain in the ass. Because they told me, they're like, well, the first nurse was like, do you want it in your arm or your stomach? Well, I was like, oh, I want it in my arm. I don't want it in my stomach. Well, apparently you really only should have it in your stomach because you're supposed to have it in like the fattiest area. So I still, and you probably can't see it right here, I still have a welt. You can still, yeah, you can see right here. I still have a welt. And it's been 3 weeks since I was discharged from the hospital. 3 weeks. And I still have a welt. Anyways. So Friday comes around and they're like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I'm doing better. They put me on Lasix, which is a water pill, which I'll tell you all about that in a minute. Woo. Anyways, and they send me home with 2 oxygen tanks, and they set me up with an oxygen people to come. So they actually came while I was being discharged, and Vaughn set it up with a big oxygen tank that's, electric, that you plug in and it continuously makes oxygen. And then I had some portable oxygens or whatever. Saturday and Sunday I got to recoup. Sunday I went grocery shopping just to see how I would do, and I was pretty worn out from like an hour and a half of, I was in one of the little carts that you ride with my oxygen, and I was still pretty worn out. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to go to work Monday, but I went to work Monday, plugged in the oxygen, and I did pretty good. That first week I really needed the oxygen. I really, really needed it. The second week wasn't as bad. I went to the hospital Tuesday. discharged Friday, and then Wednesday I had an appointment with my doctor. My pulse ox was up to 96, which was obviously much better than it was. They did a asthma test on me and determined that I have asthma, which is really shouldn't be surprising because my brother has it, my sister has it, my mom has it, fucking everybody has it. Sorry, my language. Then they also drew a bunch of blood because they wanted to do a respiratory allergy test on me, which I should have brought the results in here, but I'll just kind of remember most of it. I remember a lot of it because I've said it so many times. So she's like, I'll call you with the results. It'll be a couple days. So they called me on Friday and they said, we want you to come in next week to go over the results. And I'm like, well, it can't be like cancer or something because they would have found that in the x-rays. So why do they need me to come in? Just tell me what I'm allergic to and be done with it. Anyways, so I come in. I went in the next Tuesday, which was last Tuesday. And she's like, normally I just call you and tell you the results, but you're allergic to so many things that I can't. I had to have you come in. Okay. So I'm pretty much allergic to the outdoors. There's like 13 trees or something and a whole bunch of other polleny plants and just like okay. So I'll give you an idea. Anything over 0.35, you're considered allergic. I'm like I'm at an 18.4 with an oak tree and a 19.5 with a birch tree. Like I'm like severely allergic to the outdoors. And she's like, okay, well, during the summer, you should close your windows and just run your AC. And I'm like, huh, are you paying my electricity bill? I mean, anyways, so, and then she tells me the good news. Remember, 0.35 means you're allergic. The good news is the worst one is at a 25.5, and that's dog dander. And they're like, you should get rid of your dogs. And I'm like, ha, you should bite my ass. Anyway, so she's giving me all these things. Don't let them sleep with you. Blah, 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 whatever. So the only thing that I'm really doing is giving them a bath once a week instead of once every 4 weeks, like when I take them to their groomer. So I'm giving them a bath once a week. Actually, I'm not doing it, but I'll explain that later as well. So I've been off the oxygen for a week. I feel much better. I'm back to my old self. This past Monday, I had to go to a doctor. It's a lung and sleep center. They did a full breathing test on me where I was in this enclosed tube thing. And then they told me, no, we don't think you have asthma. Okay. All right. We think your breathing is great. They gave me 4 shots of albuterol at once. And this is after I had just taken 2 shots earlier in the day or like an hour ago. So whatever. So I was all like, albuterol. Anyway, so they're like, we really don't think you have asthma. So then he puts a little light in my throat or in my mouth or whatever. And he's looking at my throat and he goes, I can't even see the back of your throat. I can't even see it. I can pretty much guarantee you that you have severe sleep apnea. Okay. So he measures my neck. I don't know why. And he goes, we're going to set you up with a sleep study once your insurance approves it. So I'm waiting for them to call me. And I'll do a sleep study. They showed me the room. It's like this big king-size bed and like a 60-inch screen TV on the wall and a full bathroom and stuff. So I'll get to do that in the next couple of weeks. And then maybe they'll set me up with the big machine. Luke, I have no fun. Anyways, sorry. So that is pretty much that. Oh, the other good thing is I haven't told you guys my weight recently. When I quit smoking, I gained 45 pounds. So if you watched my weight loss video from like 2 or 3 years ago, I was at 355. And that's pretty much what I rode for like 3 years is 355. But like I said, I gained 45 pounds when I quit smoking. So the Saturday before I went into the hospital, so that would be the 2nd of August, I was at 396. When I went to the sleep study place on Monday, I was down to 353. So I've lost 43 pounds in this month. And I know a lot of it is the water pills. So I know a lot of it is the water pills, but I'm ecstatic. I'm like, 43 pounds? Hell yeah! So anyways, other than that, that is pretty much how I'm going health-wise. Now that I've got this big boost, Jasper. Sorry. Now that I've got this big like weight loss boost, I'm like all about weight loss. Jasper. That was me. Sorry. He's a little crazy. Ever since 4th of July, he just likes to bark at everything. So, that is pretty much how things are going health-wise. I'm, like, all ecstatic about losing weight, and I've, like, cut my portions down, like, a ton, and, like, whatever. I'm, like, determined now to do it, because I have this big weight loss jump. Now, the video, and I'm at 15 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. This is going to take forever to upload, and you guys are going to be like, all right, I'm bored. If you've made it this far, yay! Anyways, okay, so the other thing is the video before the hospital video, I posted changes. Changes. Anyways, so we've had some changes in our household. Vaughn's cousin, Chris, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he has been homeless since April. And he lives in California. So his mom, as a last, I'm not doing anything for you anymore, bought him a plane ticket to come out. So as of 2 weeks ago, yesterday, Thursday, he is now living with us. He is living in this room. Well, he's sleeping out there, but he's keeping his stuff in here, which is why you see this box over here. So he is now living with us. Until he gets a job, he's pretty much taking care of the cleaning type stuff. He's the one giving them baths, things like that. He's doing all of that. So, which is awesome for us. Awesome, it's awesome for him. He's not sleeping in a tent on the concrete anymore. So, he's got a good meal every night. And it helps us because we're not buying any extra food except for like drinks. So, we're just taking our dinners that we would normally eat and just cutting our portions down so we can fit a third person in. So, that works out even better. So, those are the big changes that have happened with him moving in. His name's Chris. You'll probably see him here and there in a video. I don't know. He said he doesn't care, so I'm sure it'll be fine. He's a cool guy. So, yeah, that's about it. Okay, I feel all talked out here. I don't know. I feel like I should do a Q&A or something. I haven't been making very many videos lately because I've been just so, things have been so crazy with work and crocheting and just so much. Oh, I do have, and you guys, if you are not on my Facebook, then you don't know this, and I'm so stoked. As you guys have seen on previous videos, I have a GoFundMe page. It's gofundme.com/8emxww. I'll post the link below, whatever, if you want to donate. It's for my fertility stuff and for my hats that I make for free. Anyways, moving on. You guys have already seen it, whatever. I'm doing a raffle. So I had a ton of wonderful ladies who have donated things they make or things that they bought or whatever, and they've donated all this stuff for this raffle. And I have 2 more things I'm waiting on. One, I'm not going to get in time to put it together. Actually, 2 things. Actually, I have 3 things I'm waiting on. 2 things I won't have time to put together for the raffle, but I have pictures. So I show you the pictures, and we're going to do this. I think there's going to be like 5 baskets of things to raffle off. And then there's a couple other little things here and there I'm going to raffle off separately. If you buy tickets for the basket, you can win something here. So, super stoked about that. I'm really excited. So, keep an eye out for that video. And then I'll give you the directions on how to order or how to buy your raffle tickets. So, yes, if you have any questions, leave them below. I love you guys so much. If you made it this far, you're the best ever. And I love you guys. And welcome to all my new subscribers because I have a ton. And you guys are the best. And I love you. Okay, bye.